In our first conversation video that we're having about historical perspective of mathematics, I want to talk about three things: numbers, numerals, and number words. So those three things. You might be thinking, aren't those the same? Numbers, numerals, number words? I mean, yes and no. So let's talk about what the differences are. So if I wanted to figure out how many markers I'm holding in my hand here, I'm not trying to be tricky. If I want to know how many markers those are, I might look at that, and the number of markers that I have there in my hand is the quantity of how many markers. That's the number. So the number that I have, I might represent it in a number of in several different ways. Somebody might say, this is how many markers I had in my hand. Somebody might say, this is how many markers I had in my hand. Both of those would be right. Both of these are two different ways to write the same number, to show the same number. In fact, this one here, it might just be showing like a hand, like it's this many. So these are different ways to represent the numbers. So these are different numerals. Some other numerals that represent how many markers those were. Here's one. This might be familiar to you. It's the same as this many markers right there. Here's another numeral. That one's a Roman numeral, and you might be familiar with those. And then another numeral is this one. This is a Chinese numeral that means the same thing as these others. So all of these different numerals that I mentioned are showing me the same, are identifying the same number, which was the number of markers in my hand. If I want to give a name to this, I might say that's 5. There were 5 markers. There are 5 markers right here. That's the number word, 5. However, if I was in a different country, let's say I was in Mexico, and I said, ¿Cuántos están en mi mano? They might look at this and they might say cinco, because that's the Spanish number word for 5. So we've got these different number words that might look like the same numeral if it was written out. And so that's the difference between numbers, numerals, and number words. A number is an idea about a quantity. A number talks about how much or how many of something, and it's really just an idea, it's a concept. A numeral is a little more specific, and it's a written symbol that represents numbers. Or maybe it's not written, maybe it's just like showing your hand like this many right here. But in general, written symbols to represent those numbers. And then number words are words. Hopefully that's obvious. And a number word is a word that might be spoken or it might be written, and it represents or names a number. And you've got a couple of videos to watch. I want you to watch one where you're introducing some different number words in another language. In a couple of languages, I want you to see those. So you'll look at that. And then in the problem set, you'll get introduced to thinking more about some number words and our own numerals that we use. This one that I call 5 is from a set of numerals that I'm very familiar with, that you are very familiar with, and we'll talk more about that in the problem set. Good luck this week.